sorry, I feel like I'm doing a video on how not to do a video on Facebook. Anyway, I have new battery in my scales, yay. So anyone who's still with me, thank you for coming back to part 2. So yeah, my scales now have a new battery. As I was saying, I'm Carla from Paint Me Vintage in Tauranga. And today I am mixing 2-part resin to create, because I want to pour this into some of my Redesign silicone moulds and create some appliques for future projects. And the cool thing about the resin is that you can pre-pour them all, create them all, keep them aside and use them at any time. So that's what we're doing today. So we sell the moulds, we also sell the resin. It comes in 2 tubes like this. You'll get those together. It's a chemical reaction, you will get instructions, so it's advisable to use gloves and just put something down that you can chuck out afterwards under your moulds as well. And fingers crossed nothing goes wrong on take 2. It's actually take 3. But anyway, so you get a bottle with resin, a bottle with the hardener, and they stay separate. So you never make this up until you're ready to use it. So you need a disposable cup or something like that. I think this is like an old yogurt container or something like that. I've poured my resin in there already. Just going to turn my scales on again so I know what they weigh. And you do 2 parts resin to 1 part hardener. So I'm going to pour those together. And this is not a quick dry resin. So you've got plenty of time to be able, I did a calculation, I need to go up to 237. You've got plenty of time to mix it together. So just take your time. Don't rush it. You don't want to spill things. You don't want things to be horrible and messy. So I'm nearly there. And super accurate scales with, is that correct? Yeah. Just one tiny drop more. And make sure you do it accurately. I think it'll be enough. Because if you don't, you can ruin your moulds. And I know this from experience. I've done a couple of these, and I keep all my bits just in an old plastic jug like that too, so that if they leak or they've got sticky bits on them, then it doesn't get on all the rest of my things. So I can do away with that now. If you don't know what we're talking about, go back and watch part 1, and then this will follow on. Rightio, so in my disposable container, I will need to chuck this out afterwards. There's no way of recovering it. I've got my resin and I've got my hardener, and then I just use a popsicle stick and I mix it together really, really well. So there's a couple of things that can go wrong at this stage. If you don't measure it properly, you can ruin your moulds. And I've done that by putting too much hardener and just a little splash more. You do have to really, really accurately measure it, which is why those scales are really invaluable. And I'll show you what happens. See here how that mould has gone kind of light grey, and what happened is I had too much hardener in my mix, and when I poured it in, it bit into my mould and was really, really hard to get out. So that is still usable. It's not something I would use like in a classroom teaching. Any of you who are coming to me, I still use it, but that one, yeah, won't last forever. Whereas my other ones where I've used them over and over and got my mixture right still look exactly the same. The moulds are really detailed as well. And yeah, it's really nice once you have cast them with your clay or with your resin. You can also use hot glue. What I find with hot glue doesn't give as much detail as the resin or the clay. I really like the detail you get from these. So yeah, you can use any of those and they all come out really nicely. And I'll do another video some other time just showing you how to use the clay if you'd like me to. So you stir it together really, really well. Try not to get bubbles in it, but I want it really, really well stirred. So, and you can kind of see it all becomes one colour. There's not a great deal of difference in the colour, but just a slight one. So just make sure that's mixed together well, because if it isn't, you will get, it'll just be tacky, and it'll just be a goopy mess in your mould, and it can ruin your mould that way as well. So yeah, measure accurately and mix well, really, really important. And just use those disposable things to do all of this with. I'll just give that a bit more of a stir. I've got another couple of really beautiful moulds here too. This one's called Leafy Blooms or Leafy Blossoms. That one we just got in as one of our last packages to arrive the other week. So yeah, I've got some beautiful florals and leaves like that, which I haven't had before. I haven't cast those in resin before. I've cast them using the clay, but not the resin. Cool, so that's really well stirred. And then it's simply a matter of, just get my plastic bag to put that stick onto. You can use like a plastic cup or something like that as well. And this is where the gloves are important. You do want to protect yourself. You just pour into your moulds and just get some control over it. I usually just aim for the middle of the mould. I just do it slowly. I have overfilled them before. That's a big mess. There's no real way of cleaning that up other than just waiting until it dries and then breaking it off the bits which are not wanted. So this is, yeah, this will be dry, like if I say come out here say 10 AM tomorrow morning, which is, it's quite hard to know what the day is at the moment, isn't it? Tuesday. I'm sure they'll be dry, and what I'll do a video and show you them all popping out as well. I really like popping them out, it's cool. Right, and if you've got bits which haven't quite filled up, I'm not sure if you can see this, I get my stick and I just pull the resin into those corners that it needs to fill up still. And it kind of sticks to itself. If you say, hey, get over on this bit, it kind of follows itself, so it's quite good that way. Some really cute little leaves on this one as well. And I've made plenty of mistakes doing these, but yeah, I don't want you to make them, so that's why it's good if I could do videos every now and then and show you how. Now this one, oh, so cool. Super happy about this, having this one. So this is the royalty one, so I'm just gonna pour all the way around the big wreath first. I've got some really cool furniture projects coming up and a few which I know will take some lovely designs, so if I have these ready, even if I don't know what I'm going to use on what piece at the moment, then at least I'll have a nice choice when I'm ready to paint those things. So what we usually use to glue these onto things is Sally's All Fix. It's a yellow and blue paste. You just can buy that from Mitre 10. I think that's where I usually get mine. And it's good because it says it sticks anything to anything. And it pretty much does. You could also use a good quality wood glue as well. Not a cheapo one, you want a good quality one. And when they come out of the moulds, I'm just going to get my stick and pull the resin into the legs of the bee, because they are really fine. That is a fine, fine mould. So if I get a decent amount in there, and then just the corners of this wreath as well, there's a few little bits where it just hasn't gone quite to the edges. Oh yeah, and that bit of the crown. So as you can see, it's super easy. Another wee trick too, make sure your surface is completely flat. I've done that myself. I have one of my painting tables is a metal top, and it's a little bit up and down, and then my moulds, of course, when they set, were up and down because they followed, they go flat according to what they're put into. So it's all just part of giving things a go and learning, isn't it? But if you can learn from my mistakes, then why not? Right, and then just pour this other new one too. I find rushing also doesn't help. I don't have good results if I'm rushing. And I have loads of moulds laid out here. I won't pour them all for you guys now, but I'll mix up another batch and do the rest of them. So I'll have loads to pop out in the morning, which will be cool. Oh, and I was lucky, I had a battery for my scales. It takes the same little round battery as the automatic flameless candles do. So I pinched the battery out of there. So I'm sorry about part 1 and part 2. Bit of a mess, but oh well. Just pour in my drops. Pour this other drop. So what I'll do, I'll just this kind of needs a little bit more. Oh. What I'll do, I might grab the camera and just show you this close up, and then I'll let you carry on with whatever you're doing. And I'll show you them all popping out in the morning. So I'll just take you down. Get you out of my clip. Turn it around. Right, cool. So see, that's what they look like. And see all these bits here where it hasn't gone into. So just get my stick and just push some of the resin, because this one's a brand new one. I haven't used this one before, but it's got all these nice little fine bits. But you find, see how I'm pushing that in there? It just kind of follows itself and fills it up. So I might have to top this one up with a little bit more resin. His leg, right to his toes and his knee. But you kind of don't appreciate the details of these until you have cast them and see what they look like. And we have got more resin in stock now as well. That's all on the website. We were out of it. Again, that was one of the things that was on its way to us, but didn't quite make it before we had to close down. You see how that kind of just flows once you've said, hey, go in here, it just kind of flows into it and levels itself out. This one might need a tiny top up as well. Cool, so that's what that one looks like. Here's the royalty one. He looks pretty good. Oh, he's got a little bit there. And there's my flowery one. Cool, so all we do now is leave them in a closed room where they're not going to get knocked about or anything like that. Leave them to dry. So as I said, about 12 to 14 hours. And so for me, that'll be tomorrow morning because it's late afternoon here today. And yeah, I'll spin you around. So yeah, I'll jump back in tomorrow and I'll show you what they look like all popped out. So cool, stay safe, well, healthy, creative everyone, and I'll catch you tomorrow.